Yo, what's up, everybody? We are here with Shai Burton, one of the Pokemon regional casters. Welcome back from Utrecht. How was Utrecht for a start?
UJet was very good. We had some amazing decks on stream, like Steelix. I think we had something else where we had like Toad's deck that had like 31 ofs, and it was always kicking off. And it was nice to see MUV Max, a deck close to my heart, take down the last European event for rotation. So yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, I've tried the Steelix deck. It's actually quite fun.
Yes.
I've tried the Tord binder and just gone. How do you play this? Yes. I have no idea how to play that deck.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard to commentate as well, to be fair.
Oh yeah, I bet. Trying to work out what he has and hasn't used of the 60 cards that are nearly all one-offs.
Yeah, that as well. That as well. Yeah, like what's actually gone? Like
yeah. But yeah, during this video, we're just going to go over some quick questions about you and how you got into casting and all the things like that, and sort of how do people sort of get into the whole Pokemon community and things like that. First off, feel free to just tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you're up to and what else you do.
Yeah, so I guess my main social media presence in Pokemon is on YouTube. Bert's PTCG. I just passed 10k about 2-3 weeks ago, maybe 10k subscribers. That is. Mostly I do historic content now. Like my last video was the best and worst cards from every Pokemon TCG sets, going all the way back to 1999, all the way through now. But I do a little bit of like comedic content every now and then, a little bit of how-to content as well. I like some budget stuff like that. So, but I have done, deck profiles all the way back in the day, event vlogs. I've done pretty much all kinds of Pokemon TCG content, to be fair. I did game shows at one point as well. So, done it all really. And then I guess in the recent-ish kind of past, I got involved with casting, first through Limitless, when it was all sort of community sort of channels and stuff like this. And then luckily I was just in the right place at the right time when Pokemon wanted to take over European streams officially in the EU as of last season. And I guess they liked my work and they've asked me to sort of be involved with the circuit, which was amazing. So yeah, I've been playing Pokemon TCG since Dark Explorers, which was about 2011. But I didn't go to my first league challenge to about 2014, I'd like to say. So I've been playing the game, what's that? So I guess 10 years roughly since my first league challenge. So yeah, been in and around the game for a long time. It feels like, but I love it.
That is a long time. I think I've been playing since Worlds when it was in London, so 2022?
22.
Yeah,
that's 22.
I think I got back into the game sort of like online before that, but then the first ever event I went to it as a spectator, and I was like, you know what, I need a bit of this.
It gets you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. So other than just the sort of like the Limitless and things like that, what did get you into casting? What made you want to sort of cast stuff like this?
Yeah, that's a very good question, actually. I've always said I'm like maybe slightly above average as a Pokemon TCG player. I've had some decent finishes every now and then, but nothing too consistent.
Nothing demi related, no.
No, I've never I've never finaled a regional. I did top 8 the international challenge, which was a regional level event. I did do that, but that was golly. I did that with Landorus EX, and that was an expanded. That was 2016 actually. That was so that was my last big.
That's a while ago, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've top 128 a couple EUICs, which is kind of cool. But outside of that, I've always sort of been maybe slightly above average as a player, right? But one thing I do love doing, and I think I'm quite good at, in my opinion, is I like being on camera. I like entertaining people. I like doing all that kind of stuff, right? So I thought, well, if I really enjoy the Pokemon TCG and I've got good gameplay knowledge, I just can't apply it myself. Well, if I put my talents together, that results in casting, right? So, and then with my YouTube channel, I've always involved on camera anyway. So when Limitless started doing the applications to start getting involved with the casting last season, that would have been, I was just all on it. I was like, well, this is my chance here. Like, I have to sort of run with this. So I thought, well, let's just give it a go, see what happens. And yeah, luckily it all panned out all right. But I guess that's the main reason, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Like when you said then that you're good at like sort of seeing moves and actions and things like that in the game. See, I am really good at,
Yeah.
like, I can watch somebody else playing a game and I can see 10 different actions to do. But when it comes to me doing
Yeah.
it, I'm there like, I see one
Yeah,
action and
it's
one action
different.
only.
It's different. Yeah, it's
So,
different. I've been there. I've been there before. Yeah.
but yeah, so, well, that sounds actually like really cool and really interesting. Like, because it's not going to be something easy to get into. There's going to be thousands of people who are going to want to do that sort of thing. And I have
Yeah.
like I do watch your YouTube and things like that, which I will post in the comments and I'll put it up on the top of the screen. I've watched some of them and like some of them on there, like, you know what, I'm 100% here for this. Because I like some of the stuff you do where you do like the rogue stuff as well, not just meta. So
Yeah.
that I do really enjoy that. For example, like that Steelix deck that was at Utrecht this weekend just gone, I was just there like, you know what, that is definitely a my kind of deck.
Yeah, that took us all by surprise. I love seeing that sort of stuff.
Yeah, like,
That's what I live for.
but yeah, so when you're casting at regionals and things like that, what's an average day like for you? Do you have to get there a lot earlier than a lot of other people? How long do you have to spend it in like things like makeup?
Well, it sort of depends, actually. Well, when we used to start during round one, we have to get there quite early. Call time would be about like 7:30-ish. But now because we start at round three, it's a lot more relaxed actually. So makeup can depend, like on sort of, if you're getting your hair done, if you're, anything like this, you've got long hair, I think you might have to get that done. Luckily for me, my makeup takes about like 30 seconds. They just put a little powder on and get that out of the way. But someone like Amy, for example, she might be there a bit longer in the chair because sometimes they do her hair and it's all over the shop. So, but yeah, so I guess when you're on an average day, I'd say if we start at round 3 to round 9, that's 6 hours minimum, right? So that's not taking into account delays in between rounds. So I'd say the average casting day is about 8 to 9 hours. Day 2 can be slightly longer because you got top 8, top 4 final and stuff like this. So yeah, that's a sort of average casting day. It tends to be you're on for a round, then you're off for a round. But if you're off, you might have to do the winners interview if there is one. So you have to sort of be listening to the game still. And then sometimes you're off on the floor filming stuff to be shown in the breaks and stuff like this. So it's very rare you get like a full-on break, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's all good fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, because like a lot of times I've noticed when there's always like 4 of you, for example, and
Yes.
you'll only have 2 comments in a game or a match at a time. So people are there like, oh, that they must not work all day, sort of thing. Because you'll get, say, you and Amy doing one, and then you'll get the next match. It'll be 2 other casters. So they must have a bit of a break then. And I'm there like, no, because I've been to these regionals. They're always doing something. They're always running around, walking around, doing something, whether it's getting ready to the stage or talking to the fans, things like that. So I know it's definitely a long day.
Oh yeah, super long, super long. It's very rare you get a full-on actual break.
Yeah. So, what achievements have you had since you've been casting and things like that? What's the sort of like goals that you want to get to and things like that?
Yeah, well, I take the casting. What's the word? I don't take it for granted. So I take every event as it comes. I get really happy if I get picked for any regional or special event. But I guess my achievements have been, well, I guess the biggest one, the easiest one would be being asked to cast LAIC in Brazil. That was pretty crazy. Flying to South America, never been there before, leaving the continent to represent Pokemon. And that was my first international as well. So that was pretty cool. And it's a really fun event. There's a new format. Paradox Rift was legal. I mean, cards like Iron Hands and Iron Valiant were going to be mental, and they both ended up making the final in Masters. With Iron Hands winning it, and then Iron Valiant won in juniors, I'd like to say. So yeah, that was just really fun, being on that next level stage, which I didn't think. I mean, I thought maybe I'll get international next season. If I got it this season, we're in a bonus, and then sort of got picked for the first one, which is kind of cool. So that's probably the biggest achievement. As of what's next, I mean, once you've got an international, there's only one event left, right? That's in order to go up, and that's Worlds. So who knows? I ain't got a clue.
We're going to be seeing you in
when
Honolulu.
Or if Worlds. I haven't got a clue, honestly. I mean, if I had to try and speculate, I'm not sure if they'd want someone to cast their first internationals, then Worlds in the same season. But then if they just say, you know what, like we just want to have, our criteria is X, Y, and Z, And if you hit that criteria, maybe they'll call you up. I haven't got a clue. So I mean, I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I always want to go Hawaii as well, right? But I guess we'll have to find out about that at a later date. And what was the other question? I couldn't say.
That was, you covered them both then.
Oh, any other achievements?
Yeah.
Any other achievements? I guess. Any other achievements? Being able to just be in and around the game at that level, to be honest with you, is always fun. It was quite cool. You know, when I was doing LAIC, I had people that I haven't spoke to in years being like, "Oh yeah, we tuned in, we watched you opening the show." Oh yeah, because I had to open the show at LAIC as well, which was crazy. I only found out a day before. Like, oh yeah, you're going to open the show. I was like, what? Because that in that stage is big compared to a regional stage. So I was opening the show for VGC, Go, and TCG. So I was like, if I make a mistake, these VGC people ain't gonna know how I'm there. They're just gonna think, who's this idiot? So, but luckily,
it's a lot of pressure.
But luckily, it all went. Yeah, it was first time as well. But yeah, I guess that's probably another big achievement was being asked to open a show. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I remember when Amy told me.
Hopefully, sorry, carry on.
I said I know when Amy told me that she had to open up a regionals. I think it was Liverpool. I think she opened up. When she was telling me about it, and I was just there like, yeah, good luck with that. Like the first thing you make one little mistake, and that's gonna be all over the internet everywhere. So it's definitely a big responsibility doing that.
It really is, especially for all 3 streams as well. That was crazy, but we did okay.
I take it with you opening all 3 sort of thing. Do you know a lot about the Pokemon Go and the VGC, or is it mostly just TCG?
I mean, just being in and around backstage, right? Because backstage, literally the Go set, as it were, the TCG set and the VGC set are all in a line, right? And we're always chatting the other casters in between rounds. So I know more about VGC because I used to play singles back in Gen 6 quite a lot, and then just being in and around the regionals backstage, I can sort of pick up how the meta is shifting. So I know a lot more about VGC. Like if I really had to, I could probably go on the Switch and like have a little go, and I'll be okay, I reckon. But Go, haven't really got. I mean, I know like how the battle system works, but I don't know about the meta. I don't know who's strictly great at the minute. So, but yeah, I mean, I know the Go casters very well. I chat to them quite a lot, but in terms of Go meta game, not really.
Yeah, I've dabbled in a bit of both of them every now and then. I can't do it to save my life. I actually entered Pokemon Go regionals at Lille because I couldn't get a ticket for TCG, and I thought, you know what, I'll give it a go, and I did it, and I was just like, nope, this isn't working.
It's tough. It's tough.
I liked the VGC when they did the Unite, but it's difficult to get a team of 5 to be able to go to all of these things. So I think I'll stick to being terrible at the TCG instead.
Come on, you got it. Day 2 coming soon.
So when you do your casting, when do you sort of find out? Do you find out before the tickets go live, or do they come to you? Do you have to go to them? Because that's like saying like the tickets go live quite late, considering when they are. So do you have to sort of just go, you know what, if I'm a player, because I know some of the casters play as well. Do they sort of just go, you know what, I don't know if I'm casting this, I better get a ticket just in case, or do you know before that sort of thing? Obviously, you can't tell people that you know that you've got it until they announce it, sort of thing. But
I'm just trying to think how I can answer this question because I think we're under NDAs, right? So I'm not 100% sure if I can answer that in the nicest possible way. I'm trying to think of a way around it, but I'd rather not, just in case I get told off on Pokemon. But I'm actually not sure I can answer that one, unfortunately.
That's fine. It's nowhere. That's no like. I completely get that. I keep trying to get it out of Amy if ever she's casting. I'm there like, look, are you casting? She's like, nope. And then the next day a poster go up and I was there like, you lie. She's like, well, you know I can't say.
Well, what I would say, it happens to us as well. I remember I was at NAIC last year, right? And I ran into Ethan Heggie and I was like, yes, bro, what you say? Are you casting well? He's like, I can't say. And then a few months later, you know, it comes out that he was there. And I was like, yes, go
Yeah.
on, lad. So we can't even know each other.
You've always
Really,
got to
like...
try. You've got to try.
Yeah.
So when you're casting, stuff like that, do you have a script you've got to go by, or do you sort of like? I mean, like between rounds, I'm guessing you've got some kind of script, but when you're watching the matches, I'm guessing you've just got to make it up on the spot there and then, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. When you're sort of quote unquote game casting, where you just got the top down view and we're looking at it. Yeah, that's all completely freestyle, right? You just, you know, react on what you see, you know, lines that might develop or how the gameplay is panning out. But in between rounds, I wouldn't even say that's scripted. You might have, you know, topics that you're going to hit in between rounds, right? So you say between rounds 3 and 4, we want to try and talk about this, and then we'll do that. But there is no sort of you know, script, not really real off script per se. I know one thing I've started doing recently is when we're coming back after a break, I call them intros and outros basically. I'll have like some pre-written down that I'll try and hit throughout the event. Like for example, I think I did this one in UT, U-Trek just went. I was like, oh, welcome back viewers. You're joined by myself, Shai and Alex. Now between us, we have a regional victory championship and a special event championship, but don't ask me how they're distributed because technically he won them both. I ain't won nothing. So sometimes I'll try and make some of them up to keep it, you know, entertaining and fun. And that's probably as close as it gets to scripting, I'd say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know a lot of people love you on social media, so that's always good. It's got to be difficult during judge calls on what to talk about because, or even the quicker games, because you get 50 minutes around, and then you obviously can't just say, well, okay, they've like say donked them round 1 and 2 straight away. What it must be really difficult to work out how to deal with the times that you get where you get a lot of space between things. So judge calls are your quick matches.
Yeah, judge calls, in my opinion, are the hardest thing because a lot of the time we don't even know what's happened, right? Like, you know, people will just be playing. I mean, sometimes it's super obvious, right? If someone's, you know, drew an extra card or they've, I don't know, retreated twice or something, it can be quite obvious. But sometimes that doesn't happen, and we ain't got a clue. Play stops, and then the cameras are back on us, and we're like, oh, okay. So yeah, judge calls are definitely the hardest thing, I'd say. Quick games aren't too bad because at least you have the game to talk about, at the very least, and you can talk about decks at that point. So I think that's okay. But yeah, judge calls, especially if you don't know what's happened like immediately, and then you have to sort of wait to sort of try and hear, you know, through the headset what's going on. Yeah, that's definitely the hardest thing for sure.
Yeah, I've seen it before where like the judges or the players and no one's really noticed what's happened until I'm guessing whoever's streaming it at the time's keeping an eye on chat, and the chat's just gone crazy with something that's happened and no one's noticed it other than chat. And I've seen that happen before, so that was quite interesting. So
Yeah, that can happen. Yeah, sometimes it's hard as casters to like, because I always say casting, it's like you're playing both people's decks at the same time because you have to sort of describe what one person's doing, you have to describe how the other person's gonna try and stop that, and then so when you got all those going through your head, sometimes it's really easy to miss like you know an extra card
it's
drawback
easily
to
done.
something. It's so easily done. Yeah,
I've done it multiple times as a player. Like, have I played a supporter this turn? Or so
yeah.
that's it's definitely a difficult one. What's been your best moments that you've had since you've been doing the casting and things like that?
Best moments, I'd say opening the show at LAIC again because that was just really cool, and hopefully I get a chance to be on that big stage again. Best moment. I remember actually my second ever regional for Limitless. No, my third regional, I should say. Sorry. I got to cast Demi. That was quite fun, and he won the game as well. And it was really interesting because I knew the list. We've obviously just spoke about the list, so I knew why all these cards were here. And then watching all our like week's preparation for that event just unfold in front of my eyes while I'm casting. So I get to say I know everything. So I'm just popping up. I know like this Snorlax is here for this, so you can KO that, and then go into the Stoutland, rah, rah, rah. And then after that, I got to the winners interview as well. Yeah, that was really fun. And I think they made up top 16 in that event as well, which is pretty cool. And then any others, going to NAIC was fun. I didn't get to work that one. I was there as a player, but that was really fun. Getting to go to like another continent again. That was my first time going North America. So that was really fun. And then trying to think. Actually, I remember last year EUIC. That wasn't when Pokemon was officially running the EU streams. So obviously I wasn't gonna cast that. But one of the VGC casters wanted to interview me on the floor to like, just for like that the break content. And then it was really cool. I was just sitting there watching the stream on day 2, and then my interview came up. I was just like, "Hey, that's me!" Like, I wasn't expecting that. Like, just out of nowhere, 3 big screens had my head, and I had no idea it was coming. So that was pretty fun as well.
Weirdly enough, I think I was the one that told you about that.
Oh, yeah, is that when you told me to turn around, wasn't it?
I think me and you were talking, and you were on the screens behind you, and then you ended up seeing yourself and took a selfie with yourself.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. That took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, it's got to be weird seeing yourself on the screens, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It never. What's the word? It will never feel normal, in my opinion. I don't think it ever will.
Yeah, no, I hate watching my videos back and stuff like that. It's like, God knows how you'd feel casting and stuff.
And then I guess my favorite moment as a player, this is an easy one, I rolled this off, was EUIC 2016. So that was the first EUIC. I took a complete rogue that I practiced for ages. I think I had like 600 games on PTCGO with it. It was Pidgeot Jolteon what it was. I ended up getting top 12863, which was really cool. If I had one more time to never lost, I would have made day 2, which would have been crazy. With a complete homebrew, like that was not a thing back then. So that's probably my favorite achievement as a player.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, the last regionals I went to Liverpool, and I went 4-3-2.
Hey, that's more wins than losses.
Yeah, it's technically my only ever second regional I've ever attended and played as, so I'm not too bad. I did better than the last one, but I didn't realise I could have ID'd the last round and got at least got points. But
I see.
I'll get there one day.
Yeah, it's still second regional, can't be, having more wins and losses is a great start. Well, second one anyway.
I mean, I paired 3 Snorlaxes that day, so I'm not going to complain because I beat 2 of them. And I changed, and I only changed deck 3 days before the regionals. I went from Charizard to Golden Go in like the space of 3 days. So,
Golden Go was slapping the Snorlaxes. Very good.
It works really well because everything in it's an attacker. So
no, that is true.
So everything can attack. I don't run the Manaphy in it, so I don't have to worry about that. The hardest part is when they put the Greninja in the active, and you just got to manually attach every 2 turns. True. But other than that, it's actually a really fun matchup. So what's your favorite Pokemon, and what's your favorite Pokemon card?
My favorite Pokemon is Single Strike Urshifu, because when I was young, I always wanted there to be like a cool fighting type legendary, and there wasn't one. I started playing the games of Gold and Silver, then I went back and played Red and Blue and all that jazz. And then, when Gen 5 rolled around, I had like Keldeo, Teraki, and all them. I was like, well, they don't really count, do they? Let's be honest. They're like, you know what I mean? So then when Single Strike Urshifu came out, I was like, well, this is my prayers have been answered since I was like 7 years old. So I have to make this guy my favorite. So yeah, he is my favorite Pokemon. However, he's not my favorite card though. As good as Single Strike Urshifu VMAX is, and was, especially in Single Strike Lugia. My favorite card, I think it's between 2. It's always been between Ancient Trait Gyarados from Ancient Origins. That deck was so fun. And then Gramble from Lost Thunder. So Gramble would deal 30 damage for 1 energy, but if you had no cards in your hand, you deal an extra 160 or something like this. So you would basically play your hand down to 0 every turn, slap really hard with this one prizer, and then every turn was like a mini game where you'd use Oranguru to draw up to 3, then you try and get back down again. And I really enjoyed that deck because it was almost like every turn was like a mini game, and it just really made me just enjoy playing a game at that time. And I did well with it. I think I top 4 a couple of League Cups as well with that. And then Gyarados was obviously a stage 1 Pokemon. For a DCE attachment, it would deal 30 plus 30 for each damage counter on your benched Magikarps. So what you do, there was a stage in Magma Base that when you put a basic Pokemon down, anyone, they'd take 2 damage counters. So what you do, you have Magma Basin out, you put all 3 of your other Magikarps down, so you're swinging for like 210, which at the time was a one-shot, on this one prize Pokemon, and then every turn you would just recycle that, and again, it was just really fun and just creative to play. And then one of the other casters, Alex Dow, he won a regional and a special back-to-back, won them both, and he didn't lose a single round playing Gyarados. So ever since I was like, yo, this deck is crazy.
Yeah, I do love the decks that aren't quite meta but still can run with the meta boys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, like for example, the other regionals, I think it was Dortmund that had the Chimpao Golden Go finals.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, Dortmund. Yeah.
And I was so happy because I've played both those decks for quite a while, and they're both very similar, I think.
They are.
And I was just there like, you know what? I'm here for this because it's not always your Mews, your Tinas, and things like that. So, like, I love Giratina as a Pokemon. Do I like the deck? Do I like the deck? Absolutely not, because I can never beat it. I can always think I'm ahead, and then like near the end, they're just there like dead.
Yep. Roxanne Path, Star Red.
Yeah.
Like, okay, fair enough.
How much prep do you do when you go to a regionals? Then obviously, I'm guessing you've got to carry one suitcase for all your fantastic suits, and another suitcase for everything else.
I'd say now I've sort of got my my routine down before a regional. So yeah, I managed to fit everything into like one overhead and then like a backpack. So things I'll be taking, well, the suit first of all. Sometimes I take 2, sometimes I take 1. Depends on, well, if I could be bothered to carry 2 around, to be honest. But and then obviously still got stuff like toiletries, electronics, gym clothes. I like to train when I'm out there. Recently, because I've been trying to eat better, I've been taking out like stuff like bagels and that, so I don't have to try and have like takeaway every day, which is what I used to do. So yeah, apart from the suit, it's pretty standard like city trip stuff. To be honest with you, I'd say most of the prep, in all honesty, comes via like looking at tournament results, chatting to players, doing my own testing, because I like to try and have a feel or at least know what the meta's like, obviously beforehand. And ideally, I'd like to try and play some games with every deck just so I can sort of, identify lines, identify like what the pain points are for a deck and stuff like this. And it's much easier to do that if you actually play some games yourself. So most of the prep goes into that, to be honest. And then watching back old streams, US or EU. A lot of it goes on Twitter, actually. A lot, especially now with EUIC being a new format, right? The Japanese players had this ahead of us, so keeping tabs on all the Japanese stuff, so I can be like, just so I know, this has been doing really well. This has been doing really well. Certain decks are playing this card count. Certain decks are playing this card count. And yeah, so I'd say most of the prep goes into stuff like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've got to sort of be ahead of the game rather than anything else, haven't you? You've got to know what's where, and it's all well and good you getting a deck out, someone getting a deck out, and you going, I have no idea what this is.
Yeah, see, that's what you need to avoid, because that's a horrible place to be.
Yeah,
if you've got like thousands of people watching you, and you're trying to work out their deck as they are.
For example, towards this weekend.
Yeah, well, at least with that one, we knew what all the cards did.
Yeah.
Some of the lines would have been crazy. But for example, that Steelix deck that came on, because I follow that person on Twitter, I knew that deck already. I knew Earthquake did 1 for 130. I knew it put 3 damage counters. I knew Ballistic Beak would do 30. So that was a really good example, actually, where like if I didn't do my prior prep work, I would have been like, I don't know what's going on right now. But I kind of knew already ahead of time, which was nice.
Yeah, that's good. Like, so I've had times where I've never been able to beat matchups, but then I've played those decks, and I'm not like, you know what? Now I've played it, I actually know how to do it.
Yeah,
I know how to come against it.
Yeah, like if you played that yourself, you're like, oh, so I know you're gonna try and do this turn, but I'm gonna stop you doing exactly that, right? And then it just means that you win more often. For example, like the best example for that was EUIC Frankfurt 2022. Me and Demi just played the Fusion Mew Mirror for like ages because we knew it was going to be the most popular deck. And we worked out if we had a game plan for the Fusion Mew Mirror and our opponents didn't, we would win almost every time because there was a very obvious thing to do every turn. And if your opponent didn't respond to it in the optimal way, it was so easy for you to exploit. So we must have practiced that so many times. And I think on the day I matched 4 mirrors and I won 3 of them and ended up getting 6-3, so 100 CP. And again, if I was to tie one around instead of losing it, I would have been in day 2. So yeah, all that prep work, playing decks, knowing all the matchups is just so important for playing and casting, actually.
Yeah, because like I'm guessing when you're casting, you've sort of got their deck lists in front of you, so you sort of know what there is. So it helps you discuss, like, for example, like you said, Mew. Oh, so they've got, I don't know, say 3 judges, for example. You'll know whether they're playing 3 or 4, so that helps a lot, I guess.
Oh, for sure, yeah. If we didn't have deck lists, it'd be very it'd be an interesting castle for it that way if we didn't have
Yeah.
deck lists. Yeah.
God, yeah, I've had a time where I've even put wrong deck lists down. I was at locals for a challenge or a cup, one of them, I can't remember. I was playing Gardevoir, and I forgot to write down my rare candies, and
Oh no,
that did go down great. And they're like, you have to replace it with energy, and I was like,
I mean, to be fair, of all the times for that to happen, at least you just go through Curly and you get extra energies to get in the bin. That's actually not the worst example I've heard of that.
well, the judge at the time who was running the event said something, and I was like, you know what? I am a meme person. I love memes. I love one trio, for example. And they were like, why don't you put water energy in there so you can conceal cards and like Moonlight Shuriken them? And I was like, because with Guardy, you can attach it with it. With the baby Guardy, not the EX.
Yeah, no, true.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm not going to win this cup without my rare candies. I'm going to do it. And I pulled it off a couple of times. I even had one person say, you know what? I'm not going to attack you to win until you Moonlight Shuriken me. I was like, okay, I'm here for that. It was quite fun. But yeah.
That's wild. I mean, there's actually someone on Twitter I saw this weekend. They was at a League Cup. And I think a similar scenario to yourself, they didn't put Bibarel on their deck list. They're playing Chen Pao. So they had to so they're playing 2 Bidoof, no Bibarel now, and had to have extra water energy. And they ended up winning that cup, which is just crazy.
That's impressive. But right, yeah, I think that sort of covers most of it, of what I was thinking of asking.
Yep.
Is there anything do you want to shout anything else out or give any explanations of who you like, links or where people can see you and things?
Yeah, for sure. I guess I'll go a little bit as well. One question I get asked a lot at regionals on socials is like how would, if you want to get involved with casting, like how you do that, right? And unfortunately, there's no like 100% game plan, right? I can't just if let's say I wasn't a caster now, there isn't like a direct path for me to start casting like the next season, for example. But there's a lot of things you can do to sort of help make it more easier for Pokemon to pick you up for a regional, right? So one thing a lot of people often, I wouldn't say get wrong, but they put a lot of emphasis on, are you a good player? Which is important because, traditionally, if you're a good player, decks, matchups, gameplay plans, right? But apart from that, apart from knowledge of the game, there isn't a lot of other transferable skills between being a good player and being a good caster. Because the skills for being a good caster are stuff like camera presence. Are you engaging? Can you project your voice well? Can you like say what you want to say about stammering, which is something that I'm not very good at, unfortunately. Like, can you get excited? Can you hype moments? Can you, like you said, when there's judge calls, can you like effectively fill dead air off the top of your head, right? These are all skills that don't necessarily get practiced by playing the game. So if you do want to get involved with casting, how to start thinking about that.
Yeah, you've got to think on the spot a lot of the time, haven't you?
Yes, yeah, for sure. Making content is quite good for that. That's, for example, like I know one of the reasons I ended up getting picked for Limitless streams and then on the back of that Pokemon streams is because I had such a back catalogue of videos all ready to go, right? So I would imagine, I mean, I haven't been told this, but I would imagine when Pokemon wanted to start taking over the EU streams, they probably saw that I was doing Limitless ones and they thought, right, let's check him out then. We've seen him on camera, let's see what his videos are like. So I would 100% guess that they've gone through my videos, but okay, he knows the game, he's good on camera, he can, all that jazz. So, because Pokemon, even if you like say you're not a caster now, they're probably aware of who you are, and they'll probably will be keeping tabs on your socials, right? So, make sure everything's nothing too crazy on the socials because they don't like that. But so yeah, always keep in mind that anything you put out, TP Shai might be looking at. So with that in mind, making good content is fantastic. It can hone your skills for this. And what that can also do as well is get you invited onto like community streams and casting. Like for example, during lockdowns, I did a couple streams for Ethan Heggie, who is now a world caster, but he was doing the Hegster events back then, and I got to do a couple of them. I got to work with him. I got to work with Joe. I got to work with Boot as well, all through those online events. And again, that just sort of helped build the resume for TPCI, I guess. And apart from that, you know, just try and build that social following, get good content out there. If you can, get involved with community streams, you know, even if it's at a League Cup, for example. Like I know certain venues up and down the UK, they do have stream setups for League Cups. Like the Gaming Sanctuary, for example, springs to mind. And if you can't do that, try and get involved with the online tournaments. They still go on. See if you can cast some of those. Failing that, you can always go back to the regional streams, you know, mute it so you don't hear me being all loud, and then you can commentate over that, upload it to your channel. People like that sort of stuff as well. Just get in and around the game like that, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, if you keep doing that well, maybe you get that call up like I did.
Yeah, no, I've started doing my own Limitless tournaments on Limitless
Yeah,
now.
I saw that actually. Yeah. So that's a fantastic way to go.
Yeah, it's dying down a little bit at the minute because I feel like that's just because people are waiting for sort of rotation to happen and things like that. So
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I've also started doing the streams now where I sort of do the commentating over, not commentating in a way, but I'll talk to people in the chat and we'll watch it. Because I've had a few people say to me lately, like, like I know a lot of other people who like Pokemon, do shiny hunting and things like that, and they've all said to me like, how do you play the game? Can you help me play the game? Like I'm not a coach, I'm far from it, I'm not good enough to be a coach, but I can help people sort of learn how to play the game at least, and I understand the game. So the first time I ever did the stream of a regionals, I think it was Dortmund, because I didn't know if we could stream it. So I had to make sure. And then when I saw Azul doing it, I was just like, well, if he can do it, anybody can do it, right?
Yes.
So then I streamed it and I was talking about it. And I had a few people message me like, you know what? I actually really enjoyed that. It was really good. Like it helped me learn the game a lot more because like you're explaining things, not just doing it like stuff like that. So that helps. So I do enjoy sort of just watching it all and doing it all. I even just enjoy watching it because there's times like that when you get to see the interesting stuff that you wouldn't normally see at a locals.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that was good fun. But right, I will let you get on with the rest of your evening.
Oh, thank you very much.
And congratulations again for like LAIC and all the regionals you do get. Are you planning on going to NAIC at least?
I'm not sure. I'm definitely going to be in and around for EUIC. We'll see about NAIC. I mean, I really want to, but now I've got like a quote unquote 9 to 5 job starting next week. Paid time off is like quite hard to come by when I've got all these regions that I'm casting, right? So I'm gonna have to like make some decisions. But we'll see. It's definitely a possibility. It was really nice getting out there to the American player base, you know, seeing all these people I haven't seen before only on like Twitter. It was really fun. So if I can manage it, I really want to, but it's like 40-60 at the minute in favor of not going, unfortunately. So
yeah, I really wanted to go to it, but then when I was looking at the prices of the flights and the hotels and things like that, I'm like, Jesus, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it adds up quick. It does,
the way I see it is like it might say £1,000 to go to NAIC, but I could use that money to go to Worlds instead. So it's one of those. It's do I have an okay time at NAIC and an okay time at Worlds, or do I just have a fantastic time at Worlds? Sort of scenarios. So
yeah, that's an interesting scenario you find yourself in there.
Yeah,
not an easy decision by any means. But yeah.
One of my friends, his kids are locals, and he's got his Worlds invite. He's got stipend for EUIC, so they're hoping that they can get it all sorted out for Worlds. So I'll try and tag along. I'll try and hide in their suitcase.
There you go. I mean, if you could, that'd be very helpful, right?
Yeah. But right, thank you for being here. Thanks for giving me your time of day and for doing this video with me. And with that being said, I will put all of your socials in the caption and they will pop up here. And we will hopefully see you again at some point soon on the big screen.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. And hopefully you guys all watching get involved with some regional streams, and maybe you'll see me there.
Right. Thank you very much, and have a good rest of your night. See you soon.
All right, see you later, guys. Bye.